Hello and welcome to the Wilby High School English Minute, sponsored by the Margaret M. Generali Foundation. My name is Miss Barbiero. Students always ask me, what do teachers talk about? Well, today, Mr. Pannoni and I are going to demonstrate a conversation using the book To Kill a Mockingbird. Take a look. Hey, Mr. Pannoni, got a minute? I want to talk to you about something.
Sure, Miss Barbiero. Pull up a chair.
All right. Well, you know I love to bother you with things. Ooh, that's a noise. You were doing Mockingbird?
Yes, I was teaching To Kill a Mockingbird to my 9th graders.
Okay, well I'm starting it now, and I wanted to run a few things by you. First of all, I had some questions over here. This was one of the chapter tests.
Okay.
And I know it's kind of broad, but what do you think? First, the three, because question number 2, all right?
Yep.
Gives 4 historical periods.
Well, I think that they need a little bit of background on it first.
Well, that's what I thought, because there's a phrase over on top of one of the pages that says, "We've nothing to fear but fear itself."
Okay.
Remember that? And that was one of Franklin Roosevelt's favorite quotes, "Nothing to fear but fear itself."
Right.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be doing marigolds later on.
I am. I'm going to be doing that pretty soon, actually.
Okay, why I'm asking is that same phrase is used in marigolds. So I thought if you and I were both doing Mockingbird, we can double down with marigolds and focus on that same phrase. What did it mean to Scout who says it? And then what does it mean in marigolds?
Right. Okay, that's a good idea.
Because there is a difference, because this story is told from the point of view of Scout, who's a young white girl, all right, Caucasian girl, and Marigolds is told from the point of view of a young African-American girl.
Now, Scout, doesn't she get that line from Atticus?
Which line?
We have nothing to fear but fear of itself. Doesn't she say that Atticus taught her that line?
Well, let me check. That's what I'm going to check out now.
Okay.
Because he might have said it to her, but I think she heard. Okay, let's see. We have over here where it says that he played with us and he treated us with a curious detachment. Then she goes into her description of Calpurnia, her housekeeper.
Right.
I know it goes over here somewhere. I'll look that up. Let's continue talking about this, because my brainstorm was tying the short story by Eugenia Collier into the longer novel with Harper Lee.
So couldn't we use the short story as an introduction?
Sure.
You know, use that and then give a little bit of background, and then you could compare them.
Actually, I think if we use marigolds as the background for what was going on in the 1930s,
yes,
it might give a better interest or knowledge for the whole opening chapter of
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes, because it's difficult with Mockingbird in this respect. They go in a long story about Simon Finch, but very little about the whole social structure until you get to Miss Caroline in the 1st grade.
Right. And even like later on, with Aunt Alexandria wanting Scout to be a proper young lady instead of the tomboy that she is, like that doesn't happen until, I want to say, halfway through the novel.
That's true.
So they may not understand that social structure until you're almost done with the book.
Right, because even though the social structure is, this happened. Question number 6, you talk social structure. Mm-hmm. All right, the school setting in chapter 2 allows the author to, and the 4 questions there are general disrespect for authority, blame the educational system, introduce the reader to the various families and social structure, or denounce the segregation of blacks and whites.
It would be C, wouldn't it? It would be introducing the reader to the various families in the social
Absolutely,
structure. Because you don't just run into Miss Caroline, you run into Bertie Burris Ewell, you run into the Cunninghams.
Right, and when they started with Miss Caroline, she comes from a different subculture within Alabama.
Right.
Do you remember the quotation that goes with her? I'll twist
No, I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Well, shame on you.
I know, it's terrible.
I'm bad.
I do remember her not understanding
Be-
why she can't give Walter Cunningham a quarter.
Right.
Or her giving Scout a hard time because she's just trying to explain the social structure, and Miss Caroline is trying to assert her authority as a teacher, and they're just clashing over it.
Right, because she comes from northern Alabama in Winstead County, and the phrase is when the Alabama seceded from the Union, then Winston County seceded from Alabama, and then it goes on to a description.
Well, that Scout says that in
yes,
the,
she
in,
does.
In the story, right?
Yeah, she says, and then she says how there were educators, professors, and Republicans, and other unknown people in northern Winstead County, which is the antithesis of what she's living in, which is definitely rural. And then, and Walter Cunningham, all right, comes from I guess the term of yeomanry, where he and his family represent a type of middle class that pays their bills, but they pay in product because they don't have cash.
Because they can't afford to right now, especially during the Great Depression era.
Right.
They couldn't afford to pay money.
No.
And that's why Walter Cunningham wouldn't take the quarter to begin with, because he was taught by his parents or his father that you don't take something that you can't give back.
Right, because the backup with him was, and they did not take church baskets or go on relief.
Right.
And when we get to Burris Ewell, the phrase with his family was, they were the only family that got thrown off relief because they were so lazy.
Right. And then on top of that, like they broke the law so many times that the sheriff just stopped dealing with them.
Yes, and that gets back to what Scout said about what Atticus, the Buells only come once a year to school. Maybe I can do that and stay at home and be home. She's implying homeschool.
Yeah.
And that's when Atticus says, no, the law, we are of the common folk. The law applies to us. The Ewells are an entity within themselves, and we as common folk let them do, because they really don't.
They don't contribute to society.
That's a good term. Yeah, they don't contribute
to society.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, they detract from it, which is part of why they stopped trying to get Burris for truancy, and they stopped going after Mr. Ewell because he was hunting outside of season, or he was hunting animals that weren't supposed to be hunted.
Right.
They stopped going after him because not only was it taking too many resources from the rest of the town, but he was spending all his relief money on alcohol, and he wasn't feeding the kids. So they kind of knew the only way those kids are going to get food is if we let him break the law.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But there was something else that was very interesting that came up today. Why was Boo Radley in that house? Have you ever really thought about why he stayed in that house for 15 years?
Only the physical aspect of what Scout tells us with Nathan not letting him leave. But if you think deeper, there could be some fear in there.
What kind of fear? Now, this was what I had nothing better to do.
Fear of acceptance into the community?
He wanted to be accepted because that was evident when all of the treasures were in the knothole of the tree. Yeah. And that once there was a note there, please, we'd like to meet with you, Nathan cemented the tree. No more contact with the outside world, which is what that symbolized.
Right.
But it's almost as if he was in solitary confinement by a larger source, meaning there are some people that actually, there's a term for it, I didn't look it up yet, that are afraid to go out of the house.
Agoraphobia?
It could be.
I think it's agoraphobia.
We can look that up, because maybe that's fear of spiders, and we have to see if it's fear of spiders or not. But I think part of it with Arthur...
agoraphobia, sorry to interrupt you.
Go right ahead.
I apologize. Agoraphobia is a type of anxiety disorder in which you fear and avoid places or situations that may cause you to panic and make you feel trapped, helpless, or embarrassed.
Thank you. I was hoping it wasn't spiders.
Yeah, no, spiders is arachnophobia.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's because we know about phobia, the end word. So I think he may have had part of that, but he might not have because he did go out at night. That's probably when he put the treasures in the knothole.
Yeah.
And then he still had to go out at night when Maudie Atkins' house burned down because he put a blanket around Scott.
Yeah.
And finally, at the end, he gets out of the house to save Scout
And Jem.
and Jem
Yeah.
from being murdered. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he might have had it, but he had to overcome that, and then he never comes out of the house again. So
Right.
he probably did have, after a while, agoraphobia.
Right. So I think these are a fantastic lead off to a discussion.
Okay.
Just like we did here, like we talked about the questions, and the questions are a good check for comprehension, but then you can prompt them to go further.
Okay.
And then I do like the idea of marigolds as a background piece, because I don't think they're going to understand that some of that social structure until you give them a little bit of background about it. It may actually make that section with Miss Caroline more powerful.
I think you're right, because I think it's a shorter piece,
Mhm.
and it comes from a different point of view. Yes, I
Right.
think Marigolds is a good springboard for Mockingbird.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Pannoni, I'm glad I stepped in to talk
Yeah,
to
this
you.
was a fantastic conversation.
Thank you so much. Let's be sure the lunch bell isn't ringing.
Yeah, you better go before they call hall sweep.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right, let's go. That's it for this week's English Minute, sponsored by the Margaret M. Generali Foundation. Again, I'm Miss Barbiero, and thanks for watching.